Hear your journey from the beginning.
Mm.
What inspired you? I've been following your journey for quite some time, and honestly, you have always left me speechless. And I'm like, girl, you're killing it. You're like literally, um, and I just want to, yeah, start it from, I want to hear it.
Yeah, I would say it's hard to say exactly what's inspired me because there's just like, I don't know, as cliche as it sounds, like everything and anything that I was surrounded by. But I felt like I had a huge opportunity to really connect with my community because I grew up in a city like Brampton, which is full of, Black and brown communities, and just really embracing one another in such a beautiful way. And like, all these different ethnicities and backgrounds really coming together and being inclusive and being um, just so open to other ways of living. I think that's really helped me feel grounded in my own understanding of who I want to be. And also just being around my own community, like I felt like that helped me connect with my roots more deeper, but also understanding, it's not just all love. Like there is definitely things that we need to address and in order for us to move forward and in order for us as a community to heal. So, obviously going through my own traumas growing up, I think I realized that I never want anyone else to feel like this. And if I could do something in a way that inspires me to create work that helps other folks that either resonate with that type of work or have gone through it themselves, then I feel like I've done, what I've wanted to do. And yeah, I would say that's kind of, I mean, I grew up with two older brothers. I grew up with my grandparents, all four of them. And I just grew up with a lot of family. And I think that also inspired me to, really understand the nuances of what a Punjabi family could look like, all the good, all the bad that comes with it, and how do we heal together? How can I heal myself in order to heal my family? And these were things that I think were questions I had since I was young, and I really tried to explore through my work.
Mm. You mentioned your grandparents, and I myself was raised by all four of my grandparents.
Mm,
And I love that you put that in your, social media, because sometimes I think as growing up we shied away from that.
yeah.
Um, being so like, nani di larli or dadi di larli or whatever.
Hmm.
But then you start embracing their love, you start understanding their teachings, what they were trying to teach you.
Hmm.
Um, can you share your journey, your support system? I know everybody loves your feed on your grandparents.
Yeah, I would say my grandparents were a huge pivotal part of my life. Like for example, my nanke, my mom's parents, were so a part of my life. Like when I was young, I would say very young, 6 weeks old. I my parents ended up going to India, and which is like unheard of doing that now. To you know what I mean? But like they left to India for a bit, and I ended up staying with my grandparents. And at the time, my nanny was going through her own, grieving, and she had lost family members. So, me being in her life was like obviously just this bundle of joy, as I say so myself. But she really took it that way, and I would say that like she just wanted to be around me all the time and take care of me. And at that time, my mom already had, like, I was her third child, so it was a lot for her to take care of anyways. And back then, like, it was so normal for you to just kind of like stay with your grandparents or stay with your aunts and uncles, and it was like normal. And so I ended up staying with my non-kid till like on and off till I was like 4. And yeah, they really raised me to understand who I am as like, being an independent woman. My naniji was a very fierce, independent, strong woman that just like didn't take shit from anybody and really had her own ground. And you know, as my nana G started getting sick, and I lost him when I was 12, I think I think that really shifted our entire family dynamic, and she really took the lead. And I would say she, like, just the way she handled that grief, and you know, it didn't break her down. Instead, it really built her up to become the woman she was. And she, you know, was driving around in her own car. She ran her own house. She just like was doing her own thing, and it just made me feel like I could do the same. Um, and just, you know, they were just always so loving and so caring. I really thought of my grandparents as my parents. Like, I didn't differentiate that at all. Um, and so for me, it's always been like I've had such a close knit, you know, relationship with them. And of course, you know, I lived with my dadke as well. And um, you know, even with them, like, I understood life, you know. And when we were younger, we used to butt heads a lot more. So, because obviously, you know, they're also my mom's in-laws, and like it was just a whole thing, you know, straight up fucking Punjabi household. But I think as I grew older and I started to understand like the pain that my daddy had gone through, and you know, some of the things that she went through at such a young age, I started having so much more deeper compassion for her, and just her zest for like, she just would, she was the one who would always join me in dancing and acting like silly and like doing dumb things and not even questioning it. And I think those were always moments for me that like I felt like I wanted to show my grandmothers who have done so much for my family. Why can't we show them? And you know, and this is just a cultural thing. We're always used to seeing our women being very you know, poised and graceful, and have to be like this, like, you know, something that's just very like they just feel like they have to be respectful. And I wanted to show them in their raw, authentic selves, and not have to worry about what they looked like or how they acted. Or, you know, I'm like, you're at the age where you could do whatever you want. And I just kind of wanted to embrace that. So that's why I would really document them and film them as much as I could.
Mm, I love that. Oh my God, you brought so many memories for me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Um, yes, my Nani Ji, actually, she's the reason behind this podcast too. Exactly.
Oh.
You know, it's you when you watch these females, you know, I feel like especially our Punjabi females, they're just so courageous and so strong.
Yeah.
And when you have that kind of energy growing up, I feel like can um really make a good effect on a child, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and definitely being lucky to have all four grandparents, you know,
Yeah.
it सारे नहीं मिलता है क्या, you know,
Yeah.
and we are lucky enough to have that, and
Yeah.
each of them brings such a unique perspective into our lives, you know.
Mm-hmm. And
And you mentioned,
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I think I am so blessed. Like, I lost all of my grandparents now in the last couple of years, and it's been really difficult on our family because they were just, again, we didn't differentiate like who's our parents. You know, it was just like they were all our parents. So for us, it was really difficult losing everyone. And in such drastic ways. It wasn't like, oh, they were sick for a long time or they were older, you know, like it was just a very dramatic um way for them to pass. And I think it was a huge reminder for me, and what I want to do as I move forward is just like, how can I continue to break generational patterns, and b also keep their stories and narratives alive as much as I can. And so yeah, I think those are, they're just, I am very blessed. I think people that have been brought up by their grandparents are very blessed.
Mm, I love that. Now, were your grandparents, were they lucky enough to see any of your creative works?
Oh yeah.
What were their
um,
reactions?
oh my god, they thought I was so crazy. But like my Nani G, like she was in my short film Kerpa, like she was in my first short film. Um, she like they would just do it, you know, like it was never like a okay, like yeah, here and there they would act a little sassy, but then they would just go ahead and definitely go through with it. Like we would do photo shoots with them with all the time. We would do random music videos, random Snapchats, you know, just like of them being themselves and me trying to document that. And as much as they acted sassy about it, they loved it.
Oh, that is so cute. Now, I would love to see like what kind of mental health or what kind of meditation did you learn from them?
Oh, that's a good one. My nani ji was very, so she was Amritari, and she was very much about teaching us like Sukhmani Sahib and like doing Simran, and so I felt like that was what I really learned from her in that sense. um, and she really helped me. Like we went to Punjab together back in 2012, and we spent like a couple months out there together, and I felt like that was a really great moment for me because I was really tapping into my spirituality and my spiritual journey and like what did I want to see myself as and how did I, connect with Saki and how did I connect with myself. And it was really cool to learn that as well as learning about my family history, and um it was so amazing to be around her and my other like my mom's chacha chachi who are also like my non-kid too, and like just being around that like and having those really deep conversations about spirituality has really helped shape my understanding and how I see myself.
And how's that journey been for you?
uh I believe that um healing is not linear and it's
Mm.
always going to be an up and down journey. And I think it's been um, an incredible way for me to understand how far I'm willing to go. And in terms of unpacking and there's so many layers to our healing. As much as you think you're healed one thing, another thing comes up. So I think for me, I've been really up and down with it. When I first started really unpacking this was in 2016, and I started working with a transformational coach. Her name's Roz. And it was just such an incredible awakening for me. I think it was like something just snapped inside of me that I needed to get help. I needed to save myself. I needed to do something that really um, allowed me to just, stop believing my own bullshit and just let's figure this out. And she helped me understand like so many ways. I mean, now I think it's more accessible to talk about these things when it comes to like law of attraction or manifestation or all this stuff is like a thing that people are now talking about more often in wellness. But at that time, very few people I knew were talking about it, and so it was really cool to be able to just learn that and understand like what does it mean to be human, and how much I'm willing to go for myself, how much am I really trying to work on myself and heal myself so I could heal others around me. And like I felt like it was a personal responsibility. And to say it's been easy is a lie. It's been a lot. Anyone that chooses a journey of healing, um, it's so worth it though. Like it's even as much as it's difficult and it really makes you question certain things and get in there, especially during the pandemic. It was definitely like a huge eye opener. But I think it just makes you understand and know yourself more and more. And as soon as you think you already know yourself, something else comes to change your entire perspective. So
Mm.
I'm like learning, and which is interesting because as I understand this more and more. I mean, as a Sikh, which you are learning, you're always a student of life. This is what I've kind of signed myself up for, is that I'm going to come throughout my life, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is, isn't it? It's a beautiful, crazy, wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Um, and as you're dealing with, being a creative person and, and especially dealing with this topic, what are some techniques that you use for mental health, being a creative? Like, do you pause? Do you journal? Do you take your breaks off, social media breaks? What are
Mhm.
your tactics?
I would say all of the above. um, I I would say, I have been taking a little time off of like posting as much as I used to, right? So I used to be a lot more consistent, and the reason why I kind of taken that step back is because I'm trying to focus on like bigger projects that I want to work on, and what do I really want to do, and how do I want to best serve my community, my audience, people that have followed my work for so long, and um, trying to create, the whole point of me being on social media was really to share my work, right, and engage with an audience that haven't seen stuff like that before. And so I think, as much as it's been a blessing, it's also something you have to take your time with. And I think everyone goes through it. I mean, it's hard to be like, I don't pick up my phone and look at my phone the first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, it's a journey, you got to discipline yourself. And also, for me, staying grounded more and more, especially during the pandemic, what's really helped me is meditation. It's centered me. It's when I know how I feel when I don't meditate now, I can tell the difference. Like, it's insane. Before, I was like, wow, I was just living with this feeling, like, what is this? But now it's like I'm taking more time to be mindful. I'm taking more time to just like sit with myself in silence, and just allow myself to have thoughts, and hear them, see them, and then let them go.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, hon. This was amazing. I'm sure the audience will love this, and I can't wait to share it with everyone.